Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Just want to bring you guys a little quick stream here this afternoon. Try to straighten the monitor. I apologize. As we are watching just a full slate of NFL football. Really excited about the 4 o'clock window games as well. We're keeping an eye on the LA Rams at the Carolina Panthers. We got the Rams driving right now with 4 minutes left. Obviously, huge NFC playoff implications on the line here. And we'll wrap up the show with that. But this particular live stream is to talk a little Micah Parsons, Aidan Hutchinson. I'm sure you other Packer fans have noticed going into this year, there was this big debate. Which one's the better pass rusher? Well, we'd take Aidan Hutchinson over Micah. Lions fans were so loud. They have now completely disappeared. I don't know about you guys, but Lions Twitter, it seems like they're on to other sports now. They're just kind of completely checked out. But what I thought we would do is let's dive in and look at what the numbers suggest. We can all watch the tape. We do it all the time. We'll be breaking down the 2.5 sacks by Micah in the game against the Lions there on Thanksgiving. We'll be breaking that down on Chalk Talk this week. But what I wanted to do here was let's take a deep dive into the numbers. Both teams have played an equal amount of games, right? So it's a good, even base to kind of compare these two edge rushers. So we're going to dive into all kinds of different stats here. PFF grades, both defense, pass rush grades, sacks, quarterback pressure, stops, hustle stops, tackles for loss, tackles, the whole 9 yards. So that's what we're going to dive into. Before we do, if you guys would, let's do that YouTube stuff real quick. Hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your afternoon. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We're fans just like you talking Packers on a daily basis. So if you're looking for that type of content, make sure you hit subscribe and click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live here in the future. Like later on this evening, we'll probably be doing another live stream to kind of wrap up what happened in the league today and dive into some PFF grades from that Packers-Lions game, kind of give you an idea of where everybody sits, which, by the way, Isaiah McDuffie, don't look now. He's grading out like a top 10 linebacker in the league. Absolutely wild for someone who's had over 300 snaps. But let's jump into it here. Let's talk a little comparison. We're going to go Aidan Hutchinson and Micah Parsons. And I see the chat is already on fire. Appreciate y'all jumping in here with us. Let's give a shout out real quick to everybody, man. We got everybody following here. Joseph said, this isn't even debatable in my opinion. 100% of the people take Micah over Hutch. I agree. We're going to just back it up and look at the numbers, see if there's anything we're overlooking. Joseph, appreciate you swinging through, buddy. Joe Pack Joe, I really don't get the hype with Hutch. He was supposed to be Defensive Player of the Year last year because he had 4 to 5 sacks against the Bucs after Wirfs went out. And it was some mid-30 multiple team guy out there. I think Hutchinson's a great player. I want to make sure that that my opinion of Hutchinson is, holy cow. Looks like we may have just had a turnover. Carolina might have this game in the bag. Anyway, I'll try to stay on topic, and then we'll wrap up and give you a recap of that game. There is a flag on the field. That's why you don't have live football on when you're trying to cut a video. I apologize. So I think Hutchinson's a great football player. I really do. I think he plays the run well. I think he's a hell of a pass rusher. However, when you're talking Micah Parsons and Hutchinson, I would take both of them on my team, obviously, right? They are, in my opinion, I feel comfortable saying they're both elite pass rushers, elite edge defenders. You guys let me know in the comments if you disagree with that, but I definitely would see them that way. However, these Lions fans that were convinced that Hutchinson was better than Micah Parsons, I don't know what they're looking at. Let me explain what I mean by that, okay? Let's just dive into some of the numbers. PFF defensive grade. And I know there's some people that don't like PFF. That's totally cool. I don't think they're perfect either. But the overall defensive grade here, 91.9 for Micah Parsons, 90.5 for Aidan Hutchinson. Again, that's through, 13 weeks now in the NFL season here this year, right? Both teams have played an equal amount of games. So now let's move on to pass rush grade, okay? With pass rush grade, Micah Parsons, 93.2, Aidan Hutchinson, a 91.6. So I just want to kind of point that out. Overall defensive grade, that takes in everything into account, run defense, pass rush, even a little bit of coverage if they want to do a little drop coverage and play some fire zone blitzes, the whole 9 yards. Micah grades out better in both of those categories, defensive grade and pass rush grade. Like I said, Micah with a 93.2, Aidan Hutchinson, 91.6. So let's get to the meat and taters of the conversation, right? Sacks. Everybody wants to know about the sack numbers, right? You guys know I put more emphasis on quarterback pressure percentage than I do sacks. I'm not saying I would rather have a higher pressure percentage and less sacks. Obviously, sacks impact the game a little bit more. But if you've got someone who has an astronomical amount of quarterback pressures and they have a lower number of sacks as opposed to someone who's got 8 sacks or 6, let's say 8 sacks on the year, and they've got half the amount of pressure, quarterback pressure percentage as another player who maybe has 6 sacks, I'm taking the guy who's getting pressure on the quarterback more often. You can keep those 2 sacks because you're getting the quarterback off their spot. You're affecting the quarterback's play. You're hindering the offense's ability to play on schedule, to play on time, and to stay ahead of schedule. A 2nd and 8 as opposed to a 2nd and 12 because you took whatever you had to check down, you lose yardage, or maybe you had to check into the run because you're worried about that pass rusher constantly getting your quarterback off the spot. Also, quarterback pressures lead to more turnovers, right? Now you want strip sacks, absolutely, but those are few and far between. However, if you're constantly to the clip of 15 or 20% more than another player in the league getting pressure on a quarterback, you're causing those errant throws. You're causing them to get rid of the ball sooner than they want to, or maybe the ball does come out a little shaky and goes to another defender, like we seen the other day with Evan Williams with his interception, right? That sailed high because there was pressure in the face of J.J. McCarthy. So, again, sacks, though, Micah Parsons, 12.5 sacks, Aidan Hutchinson, 8.5. So 4 more sacks that Micah Parsons has than Aidan Hutchinson, right? Quarterback pressure percentage, this is the number we were kind of talking about just now. Quarterback pressure percentage. Now, these are NFL Pro stats. Let me explain why I like NFL Pro over PFF pressures. PFF does not tell you these plays were the plays we marked as pressure, so you can go cross-check them. However, NFL Pro, if there's a quarterback pressure accounted for on a player, you can literally click on the number there and go and watch said play, and you can make a determination on whether or not that was actually a pressure or not. I hate that PFF kind of hides in the weeds with that stuff, right? So I choose NFL Pro pressure percentage over the over PFF, right? And again, GPS tracking, all that stuff. If you want to disagree with what they consider a pressure, that's cool. I love the fact that I can click on those pressures and go, I wouldn't give that one a pressure. So anyway, quarterback pressure percentage, Micah Parsons, 20%. Aidan Hutchinson, 16.1. We always talk about that 10% mark. If you're over 10%, you're a pretty effective pass rusher, right? Like Rashawn Gary's sitting at like 12.5% or whatever it is, okay? Pretty effective, right? Aidan Hutchinson, 16.1. That's good. But Micah Parsons, 20%, according to NFL Pro, Next Gen Stats, GPS tracking. All right. Stops. Micah Parsons, 32. Aidan Hutchinson, 27. What is a stop? A stop is when the player you're talking about makes a tackle. He tackles a ball carrier, and it results in a negative play for the offense. Not negative yardage necessarily, but a negative EPA. So it's considered a positive play for the defense, and you were the defender that was responsible for bringing the ball carrier down, therefore kind of completing that whole statistic there, okay? So again, stops, Micah Parsons, 32, Aidan Hutchinson, 27. When you got edge defenders and interior defensive linemen, you can look at a stop. Most 99% of them from those positions are run stops. So that's a run defense grade. So here you've got Micah Parsons. Isn't it funny? Isn't it funny that mainstream sports media tried to paint this picture that Micah Parsons, as soon as he was traded away from the Dallas Cowboys, he was a horrible run defender? If he's a horrible run defender, how does he have more stops than Aidan Hutchinson? Well, maybe Aidan Hutchinson's bad at stopping a run. I don't think he is. However, why aren't they talking about Aidan Hutchinson having, whatever it is, 5 less run stops than Micah Parsons? Isn't it funny how that works? So Micah Parsons has been a better run defender. When you look at the stats, when you look at the analytics, he's been a better run defender than Aidan Hutchinson this year. 32 stops to 27. Let's talk about hustle stops. Aidan Hutchinson's Mr. Hustle, right? He's Mr. Blue Collar. He's going to go whistle to whistle. A hustle stop is when you cover, I believe it's 20 yards on the field, not necessarily 20 vertical yards, right? Like in a straight line up the field. It's anywhere from on the field, you travel 20 yards of distance to make a tackle, to make a stop, I should say, not a tackle, a stop. So again, negative EPA on that play for the offense, and you travel 20 yards to do that. Micah Parsons has 5 hustle stops. Aidan Hutchinson, 1. So again, quick little recap. PFF defensive grade, Micah Parsons. PFF pass rush grade, Micah Parsons. Sacks, Micah Parsons. Quarterback pressure, Micah Parsons. Run stops, Micah Parsons. Hustle stops, Micah Parsons. Now let's get into the actual stat. Well, I don't care about hustle stat. What about tackles for a loss? Glad you asked. Micah Parsons, 12 tackles for a loss. Aidan Hutchinson, 9. 3 more tackles for a loss than Aidan Hutchinson. And then tackles overall, right? Micah Parsons has 38. Aidan Hutchinson only has 33. So I say only, it's probably a pretty good statistic there when you rank it across the league. But the point is, no matter what statistic you look into, no matter anything you try to dive into to compare Aidan Hutchinson to Micah Parsons, who's better? It's Micah Parsons, at least this year. Now, I think we would all agree you can go back in time and see how dominant Micah has been throughout his entire career. So again, it's just another tip of the cap to Brian Gutekunst for going out and getting him. Now, remember when there was trade buzz around that, we were like, the rumor was, it wasn't even really a rumor, but people were saying, I'd give up 3 first-round picks and Rashawn Gary for him. And I'm going, boy, I wouldn't do that, because your defense, you want Rashawn Gary. You want Rashawn Gary to be on the field with Micah Parsons as much as possible, because they're going to feed off of each other. Here's a cool stat. Rashawn Gary has more run stops than Micah Parsons, and he's played way less snaps than Micah Parsons, continuing that traditional 50 to 60% snap rate for edge defenders. Now, Micah Parsons, you're paying him a lot more money. You want him to be on the field as much as possible. So it doesn't take a genius to realize, hold up a minute, Clayton. If Rashawn Gary has more run stops than Micah Parsons, that means he's got more than Aidan Hutchinson. That is correct. Another fun fact, Aidan Hutchinson's 8 sacks, right? He's got 8.5 sacks. That's only 1 more sack than Rashawn Gary, and Rashawn Gary has more run stops than Aidan Hutchinson. Now, pressure percentage, Aidan Hutchinson 16.1%. Rashawn Gary, last I checked, was around 12%, I believe it was. So you got to call a spade there. I'm not saying Rashawn Gary's a better player than Aidan Hutchinson. I'm not saying it at all. However, boy, oh boy, is he right there on his heels when it comes to this year. And it looks like the Panthers are going to pull this off. We'll dive into that here in just a second. So again, I just wanted to get your all's take on this, all right? If you're watching this video back later, let me know in the comments. What do you think about this comparison? Am I completely off my rocker? Because everything I'm seeing says Micah Parsons is significantly better at the football than Aidan Hutchinson. And again, it's not the dog Aidan Hutchinson and say he's a bad player. That's just how damn good Micah Parsons has been. And again, tip your cap to Goody for pulling that off. All right. So, and if you're new here, if you're looking back on this video and you want to leave a comment, make sure you hit subscribe and click that bell icon so you're notified when we do go live in the future. All right, let's shift gears. And I didn't plan on covering this until I seen this game coming down to the wire. And boy, oh boy, everybody's butt better be on Twitter covering this, because you guys remember when Matt LaFleur was all of a sudden on the hot seat when he lost to the Carolina Panthers? Carolina Panthers are a trash team. Boy, they're a trash organization, right? Well, looky here, ladies and gents. The 9-2 Rams are about to lose to the 6-6 Panthers, making the Panthers are going to improve to 7-6 now after this game. Isn't it funny? Life comes at you fast. So maybe this wasn't a horrible Carolina Panthers team that the Packers lost by 3 points to. The Rams just gave up 31 points to the Carolina Panthers. 31. And again, the Rams were the best team in the NFC. Here's what's crazy. If my calculations are correct, I'm almost positive that the Chicago Bears are now the number 1 seed in the NFC. Now, people hear that and they go, oh, no, that's horrible. No, that's not horrible, gang. We play the number 1 seed Chicago Bears Sunday, 4:25 kickoff, 3:25 local kickoff at Lambeau Field. It could be a cold, blustery, maybe some flurries in the air, battle for the number 1 seed. You guys correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but I'm pretty darn sure that's how that's going to shake out. And again, the Rams defense has been great this year. What happened in this game? Bryce Young, 15 of 20, 206 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, no picks. They were able to pick Matthew Stafford off twice in this game. Also, remember how their running game ran all over us? They just toted a rock 40 times, Carolina did, for 164 yards rushing in this game. Chuba Hubbard, Chuba Hubbard, however you say it, 17 carries, 83 yards. Rico Dowdle, 18 for 58. Bryce Young scrambled 5 times for 23 yards. How did they lose this game? Probably had some key scrambles by Bryce Young, which we didn't allow him to do too much because of that cage rush. Although we didn't hit home. I don't even know if we sacked him one time, to be honest with you. I don't think we did. I could be wrong. They sacked him twice. But again, when you're not cage rushing, you got to be ready to give up 5 carries for 23 yards, which is going to help those rushing yards as well. In the receiving game, he spread it around pretty good too here. He hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I think 8 different receivers. Jalen Coker, 4 catches for 74 yards and a touchdown. Tet McMillan, 1 catch for 43 yards and a touchdown. Chuba Hubbard, 2 catches for 41 yards and a touchdown there. So it looks like the Cardinals are getting the ball back here too, boys. They're facing the 6-5 San Francisco 49ers. The Cardinals are 3-8. We get a little bonus coverage there. I may be able to keep you guys updated on that. Let's see if it'll actually give me just 1 second. You guys are cool if we hang out for a minute, right? Give you guys the updates on these scores. Let me see if I can get us over to that Carolina game real quick, or the Arizona game, and I'll keep you guys updated. So anyway, there you go. The Carolina Panthers, it's official. See if the records change here. Yep, they are 7-6. The Rams fall to 9-3. So let's take that off the screen. And let's hop over to the playoff simulator real quick. Let's see how this affected, because I'm pretty sure that the Bears are going to be the number 1 seed. I could be wrong. I didn't even look at the chat. Yeah, Chuck Jaggers, please be the number 1 seed. Bears, please be the number 1 seed. Amen. Let's get it up here and see. Let's take a quick gander. All right, we got the playoff machine from ESPN up on the screen. Now let's take us a look here. I think I zoomed in enough. All right, let's clear everything off. Make sure we hit refresh. And let's see what we got here. So they're still showing the Rams as the number 1 seed because they're still listed as 9-2. So now if we go Carolina Panthers, looky there, boys and girls, looky there. Your Chicago Bears, Packer fans, like, ain't my Chicago Bears, shut your mouth, right? So the Chicago Bears are now the number 1 seed. Absolutely wild. Now let's see if Arizona, we got a 4th and 2. Let me give you an update here real quick. Arizona, Tampa Bay leads Arizona 20-17. This is a 4th and 2 for Arizona. They're at their own 15-yard line. Brissett back to pass, throws it underneath, no flags. That's going to be your ball game there. So they hang on. All right, so the Bucs hang on. So we can go ahead and throw that in here. The Bucs win that game, right? The Rams we've already got checked. So there's your updated look. I know we get the 49ers going on right now too. Let me bounce back out and take a quick look at the 49ers because that's got some playoff implications too. 2 minutes left there. They're going to win that ball game. It's 28-6. So we can go ahead and check the 49ers here with the dub. Bang. So they're still sitting in the 7th seed. So as it sits right now, with everything that we have updated here, I don't think I'm missing anything because Seattle hasn't played. That'll be a later game against the Minnesota Vikings. As I'm looking at everything here, just overlooking, making sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah, I think we're good. So the number 1 seed is the Chicago Bears. The number 2 seed is the Rams. The 3 seed is the Eagles. The 4 seed is the Buccaneers. The 5 seed is the Seattle Seahawks for the time being. All right. And then the Green Bay Packers are the 6th seed. The 49ers are the 7th seed. Obviously, the Eagles have already played, so that's already in the bag there. So we're all caught up. Now, let's have a little fun, and we'll wrap this big bear up here, all right? Yeah, Niners are bouncing the Bears. That's right. Shedeur didn't look too bad, the clips I've seen, but I have to go back and watch the tape again just to make sure. But, all right, let's go to Week 14. Let's see what's on the line here, boys and girls. So your Bears-Packers matchup. Packers win that ball game. The Rams jump back to the number 1 seed. The Packers climb to the 2 seed is what we're showing, all right, because they will not have played their game yet, right? So if the Rams win that game, they are the 1 seed. If Arizona can beat them next week, then your Green Bay Packers will be the 1 seed. So that is how that shakes out. I'm glad we took a second to look at that, okay? So now let's say the Bears beat the Packers. What happens? The Packers fall to the 7th seed all of a sudden, all right? And that's before any of the other games are played. I don't want to get too deep here. We'll cover this maybe tonight. If we do another live stream this evening with the guys, we may dive into this and take a quick look. But again, essentially what it comes down to is the Bears are going to be the number 1 seed going into next week. Again, we clear this off. Let's hit refresh. They may actually add everything in. They have not yet because it's probably not officially official. So with the Panthers winning that ball game, oh, yeah, actually they did. They checked it. All right, we're good. So the Panthers have that win now. 49ers are going to win. Yeah. So again, going into week 14 with everything cleared, if the Bears do beat the Packers, then we will be the 7th seed. The Bears will be the 1 seed. That's how that was set. All right. I'm trying to think of who's probably next in line. Probably one of those NFC West teams. Let's say the Cowboys win. All right, they're not in yet. Lions win, they're not in yet, so it don't matter there really. Any other NFC teams here? Tampa's already leading their division. The Saints are pretty much out of it as it sits right now. Commanders, I don't think they're close enough to make anything happen. We know the Vikings aren't, which is hilarious. Seahawks, let's see what happens with the Seahawks. Seahawks win, they're still the 5 seed. All right. If the Falcons win, then a little bit of shifting there, but the Packers are still in the playoffs. Trying to give you a scenario here, what it's going to look like next week. Let's say the Cardinals do beat the Rams. There's a little bit of a shakeup, but we're still in the playoffs there. And then the Eagles and the Chargers, doesn't matter. They got the 3 seed. So essentially what we're coming away with here, gang, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. Even if the Bears beat the Packers next week, the Packers are still going to be the 7th seed coming out of next week. Right now, I'm not saying the Bears are going to beat the Packers. I'm not saying I want that. Obviously, I'm not saying the Packers can't beat the Bears. I think when you look at all the key matchups here between the Packers and the Bears, I think we have the better head coach. And there may be people that disagree with that. I think Matt LaFleur is a better head coach than Ben Johnson. Although Ben Johnson's doing great, I think you got to have a couple of years under your belt before you can really say, all right, that guy's better than this guy. Let's say it's a push. Let's say Ben Johnson is as advertised this year, and him and Matt LaFleur are neck and neck in terms of quality of coaches, okay? So he called it a push. Who's got the better quarterback, gang? Jordan Love or Caleb Williams? If you guys seen the video we cut yesterday, you're probably going, oh, it ain't even close. Jordan Love, absolutely. Who's got the better pass protection? Would you take the Bears pass protection or the Packers? I don't know. That might be a little bit closer. We'll dive into that with the PFF preview a little later in the week. But let's call it a push, all right? Call it a push. Who's got the better pass rushers, the better edge defenders, if you will? It's not even close. The Packers do, right? So how are the Bears winning these games? They're taking the ball away. The key to that game is going to be turnover differential, protecting the football, right? But when you look at it on the surface of the most important aspects of the game, coach head-to-head, let's call it a tie. Although you guys know I think LaFleur is a better coach than Ben Johnson as it sits right now. Let's call that a push. Quarterback matchup, we've got the edge. Offensive line, let's say it's a push. Defensive line, specifically pass rush, we've got the edge. So we've got 2 edges. They don't have any, right? Now, it doesn't mean you're going to win that ball game, but it does mean you're in a position to knock the number 1 seed back down and you take over the North. Because once again, as we pointed out here, if you beat the Bears, you are the number 2 seed only behind the Rams if they if they win their game next week, right? You're the number 2 seed and you're leading the NFC North. And then you get to face the Bears again in a couple of weeks. So exciting times again, though. If the Cardinals win, boy, oh boy, all of a sudden, and that's on the road for the Rams. The Rams just lost to the Panthers. I was told the Packers are a trash organization because they lost to the Panthers. So matter of fact, I think we're going to wrap the video up. I'm going to go over social media and tweet that very thing out. So again, if you guys are new here and you're tuned in, let us know in the comments what you think about what we said about Micah Parsons, Aiden, Hutchinson. Let us know what you think about the playoff race too, man. This is going to be a fun little finish here. We want to hear from you guys if you're watching this back later. And appreciate everybody in the chat. If you guys would take a quick second, hit that like button for us. Y'all have been absolutely crushing the like buttons. Subs are through the roof. We're on the march to 7,000 subs. I'm telling you, it's going to be a blink of an eye. We're going to be looking up talking about 10,000 subs. Dennis Shook says, Clayton, please come to the Packers-Bears game, all caps, exclamation point. It's funny you said that, because we're looking at tickets right now. I don't know if we'll go. Mandy's already running down airfare and everything. So she wants to go desperately. I feel like we need to stay here, but we'll see what happens. Who knows? We might pop up at the Bears game. So if we do, Dennis, definitely want to meet up with you, man, and be able to meet in person for sure. Man, I know you've been following the channel for a long time. That would be awesome. So let me see how things go this week. It's just for reasons I don't want to say live on the air. There's other things that come into play that we got to, be aware of and things like that. So make sure family's good first, right? Top priority. But anyway, thanks everybody in the chat. You guys were awesome. We'll be back most likely this evening sometime, probably around 6 p.m. Central for PTA Live, and we'll do another deep dive on a subject. Probably get into some of the PFF grades we didn't cover yet. Talk about the players who really performed well against the Lions, and then kind of talk about some of the rankings, like I'd mentioned there with Isaiah McDuffie actually being the seventh highest graded linebacker with a minimum of 300 snaps, of course. Really, really, really playing good football, man. It's going to be interesting when Quay comes back, because if they start to sputter a little bit, man, it's just nice to know you got McDuffie there if you find yourself in a situation where maybe even Quay's injury is a little bit worse than before, or than you might have thought before, right? So, yeah, appreciate you, iRock. iRock says W stream. Appreciate all the support. All right, guys, we're out of here. We'll see y'all later this evening. Hit like for us. All right, make sure you sub if you're new here, and we'll talk to you probably later on this evening. My name's Clayton. This is PTA. Go Pack, go.
There we go.
We out.
Bye, guys.